Hey everyone, it's Ivan with KidBadger.com, out here continuing the journey on the coast-to-coast trip. Making our way after that second range day, getting up, driving across from Nampa, I guess, down through to Salt Lake City. Stopped off, met up with one of my relatively new but good friends, Mark Twight. If you're unfamiliar, incredible guy, super storied past, incredible achievements. Right now, probably best known for the nonprofit podcast. And we got a really awesome, basically, introduction and tour all through the gym there on site, and ultimately, just checking out some of his artwork as well. Incredibly grateful for that opportunity to, one, be able to go and check out Mark's space. That whole gym they have set up there, all of his artwork is incredible, and on top of it all, go record a podcast. But honestly, the coolest thing about that podcast was getting to just go have a conversation with Mark. Zero script, anything like that. I mean, we turned stuff on,
Sean and I were talking about FJs,
and we started talking.
It
was a conversation.
You start talking about trucks or SUVs or whatever.
The next day, after recording that podcast with Mark Twight, met back up, and he introduced me to a friend of his, Steve from Mars Armament. Kind of going back in time, Mars Armament made something called the Thug for Mark Twight. You can look up an article on it, pretty cool pistol, and that really is kind of, at the end of the day, what Mars Armament is about. Making really high quality, reliable guns to be used. Not safe queens, not things like, oh, look how super tight this tolerance is. Like, no, things that will always work when you need them to work. Like, really and truly, really nice, but at the same time, pragmatic, hard-to-use pistols. So we got a really awesome introduction to Steve, as well as his entire shop, which is pretty much like going in a time machine through all the different years of machining.
About 80% of what we do in this shop is still Colt brand, 1911 model, 45 caliber carry guns. So I'm not a general gunsmith. Yeah. If your grandpa has a gun from 1950 that was your favorite when you were a little kid and the stock is cracked on it, I can't fix it. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, double down on what you're
But if you need a carry gun, I know exactly how to build it. I know what makes them reliable. I know what makes it work for you. And we do everything here, which is very unusual. We do a lot of the parts we make from scratch here. What's that?
Oh no, I was saying, not outsourcing anything.
Yeah, especially in a small shop like this. Now, if you went someplace like Wilson Combat or Ed Brown, those guys are factories. They make a lot of stuff there, but then they have hundreds of people that work there. But this is, at the most we ever might have 4 or 5 people working here. And most of the time it's 1 or 2. And so I can prototype stuff here from scratch. This is kind of like in the 80s. This shop, a lot of the stuff in this shop you would have seen at IBM or Hewlett Packard or those kind of places. This was all state-of-the-art stuff then. And It's still
stepping back in time.
Time machine.
it's still state of the art for what we do with it.
Yeah.
But I'm not a production shop really.
Yeah, so it's not about the volume.
Yeah. So if we were about
staining
making
tolerances.
more units, then we'd have different kinds of machinery. But this is really like a tool maker shop. And come follow me back here, and I'll give you kind of a tour. So these two green machines came from Germany. They were state of the art in about 1986.
Copies for closers.
This one right here was $150,000 in 1986. And in 1986 in Provo, an hour south of here, you could buy a 10,000 square foot, really nice English Tudor mansion for $450,000. Just to kind of give you some scale.
Yeah, no, like that was an insane amount of money.
Yeah. But what's funny is that, so we still use these, and one of the things that was unique about these at the time they came out is that the state of the art. It's sad that they're gone. That one only has, that would be fairly simple, it only has 2 flutes. But you could also make, this one, just walk up to the machine and do something. It has a lot of features built into it that makes it really easy for you to do common tasks like drilling a bolt circle, or machining a circle, or machining. I used to have work at a shop down by Gunsight. They have a thing there where people come and go to take shooting classes there for a week. And Gunsight is really one of the places that really punch a pin into a piece of steel. You could mill everything away except for the pin. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You need something to stick out. So this is a set of shortcuts basically. You tell it you want to do this G75, and then it says, okay, I need to know these, I need you to answer these 10 questions, and then it figures everything out for you.
That's amazing.
All this right here, I don't know how familiar you are with code. This is, you answer these 12 questions or however many there are, 10 or whatever.
It's showing you the
This is
access
thousands
to
of lines of code
Okay.
that you don't have to write out.
Yeah. He even has this amazing lathe, which is still produced today. And it is used, I think they have like one customer, which is the US government, because they're insanely expensive. And they still use them to this day to actually machine plutonium for like nuclear weapons. Of course, once you machine plutonium, you're pretty much done. You can never use that lathe again. It gets buried in lead or something like that, probably out in the desert. Coming away from that tour, completely different kind of appreciation for 1911 platform. It's one of those where, yeah, like it's proven, but usually when you end up with factory guns, this, that, or the other thing, and then a lot of like really nice custom guns, they're not pragmatic. Like they're not, it's like, hey, like use this special oil and make sure you always do this, versus like, hey, this gun has been made to shoot a lot and continue to work for you. So no, one of these days, I actually look forward to putting some hands on one of those guns and yeah, go put it through its paces. Incredibly cool though to see the whole operation, and not only that, but to see basically how passionate Steve is. Steve does like one thing, works on pistols. And he had a pretty awesome quote where it's like, no, like I'm not an alterations lady. Like, yeah, he is a gunsmith, but he makes like custom 1911s and some other pretty cool other projects, other kind of pistols, but he's not gonna bed a stock or anything like that. Guy makes guns and pretty narrow as far as that spectrum, but makes really good stuff. Double down on what you're good at. That right there wraps up this episode on our Coast to Coast tour. Be sure to join us next time as we continue the adventure and make it down to our range day over in Price, Utah. But as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.